When all hope is lost, where do you turn? When you are met with constant failure, with no sign of any progress being made, what do you do? When every attempt at achieving success falls just short, how do you move on? The Cleveland Browns were founded in 1946, and believe it or not, they used to be the best team in football. And in fact, behind the leadership of Coach Paul Brown and quarterback Otto Graham, the team won the AFL championship 4 years in a row from 1946 to 1949, including an undefeated 1948 season. When the Browns moved to the NFL in 1950, they won the championship that year, as well as in 1954 and 1955. Under the leadership of record-setting running back Jim Brown, they also went on to win the NFL championship in 1964, just 3 years before the AFL-NFL merger and the very first Super Bowl. At which point, they would fail to make it to the Super Bowl for decades to come, and all success and championships they garnered previously would be obsolete and forgotten. But that doesn't mean they wouldn't come close. In the 1986 season, the Cleveland Browns would become one of the NFL's elite teams, and they were able to make it to the AFC Championship game. If they were to win this game, they would advance to the Super Bowl. With about 5.5 minutes left in the game, the Browns were winning 20-13 against the Denver Broncos. Unfortunately, though, in that 5.5 minute time span, the Denver quarterback John Elway was able to orchestrate a 98-yard drive to tie up the game at the end of regulation. The game went to overtime, and the Broncos would go on to win 23-20. The Browns did not make it to the Super Bowl that year. The Browns had repeated success in 1987 and would yet again make it to the AFC Championship game. Their opponents, once again the Denver Broncos. With 1 minute left in the game, the Browns were down 38-31, but they were on their opponent's goal line and ready to score to tie up the game. Unfortunately, the Browns running back, Ernest Byner, would fumble the ball at the 1-yard line, and the Browns' hopes of making it to the Super Bowl would be dashed away yet again. But in the 1989 season, the Browns would once again make it to the AFC Championship game, win this game, and they go to the Super Bowl. Their opponents? Yet again the Denver Broncos. Third time's the charm, right? Wrong. Denver would very easily win the game 37-21. The Browns did not make it to the Super Bowl that year. In the following seasons, the Browns once again became simply a mediocre team, and team owner Art Modell felt it was time for a change. So in 1995, Modell decided to move the team to Baltimore, and the team would become known as the Baltimore Ravens. Browns fans were heartbroken. Even though the Browns would fail to make it to the Super Bowl time and time again, sometimes by simple mistakes and close margins, the team was still a symbol of hope for the city of Cleveland. Browns fans could only hope that the new Ravens team would be absolutely horrid and have no success. 5 years after the team moved to Baltimore, the Ravens would win a Super Bowl in 2000, and also go on to win a Super Bowl in 2012. But at least the Cleveland Browns football team was brought back in 1999, and the new team is not nearly as mediocre as the old team was. No, in fact, they are much, much worse. Since their return in 1999, the Browns have had 1 playoff appearance and have had but 2 seasons where they have won more games than they have lost. So the question remains, where do you turn when all hope is lost? Well, surprisingly, this is not the question the Cleveland Browns fans have had to face. In fact, Cleveland fans every year are filled with an irrational sense of hope that this season will be the season. And as arbitrary and useless as this sense of hope is, it's all they've got. This is a city that fails in almost every aspect of life, and yet, for some reason, those loyal to the city love it and its crappy sports teams. And why? Well, I guess no one really knows for sure. It's just another aspect that adds to the mystery and strange beauty of the city of Cleveland.